Hello, and welcome to Stories from the View, a podcast from the Pleasant View Senior Center in East Longmeadow, Massachusetts. On this podcast, we invite East Longmeadow residents to tell us stories about their lives and events. And today's guest is Katie Hill from WB Hill and also from the East Longmeadow Rotary Club. Here's your host for this week, Mary Jenowyn Kaplan.
Thank you, Eric. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for coming and joining us
No
for
problem.
our podcast today. So, we recognize and hear from folks with East Longmeadow connections. Have you always lived in East Longmeadow?
No, I moved to East Longmeadow probably in 1999.
Ah,
But I didn't stay for very long either. So after high school, I moved to Florida. And then I came back
Ooh.
about 12 years later.
well, we're glad you returned. Tell us, what would you like to share with us today?
Well, I thought we could talk about so I volunteer for two rescues. They are based out of Oklahoma. Obviously, Bill and you know the stories about the dogs that.
So
come
these
and
are
go.
dog rescues.
Yes, these are
Uh-huh.
dog rescues.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Out of Oklahoma.
Out of Oklahoma, they get transported here every 2 weeks.
Why are there dogs in Oklahoma that need rescue? I have.
So
How did this happen?
So right now, Oklahoma is at the bottom of the list of people that help. So right there, there's about 300 dogs a day being euthanized because
In kill shelters.
and kill shelters. There's kill shelters, but also the shelters that are open, there's no heat, there's no AC, so there's dogs being frozen to death. Because there's not enough funds, there's not enough people to help.
How sad. But somehow they come here.
They do. They come here. During COVID, there was a lot of dogs being rescued, but there was a lot of dogs being returned. So that is what I do. I rehabilitate dogs and I rehome them.
So how did dogs get from Oklahoma to here?
Actually, it's like the bus. It's just a regular bus.
The dog bus.
It's a dog bus. And instead of the seats, they just put crates on each side.
So cool. And how many come here?
Well, there's some come here. They drive from Oklahoma to here, and in every few states they stop and they let out the dogs that have already been adopted.
Uh-huh.
But there's only a short handful that come here to Massachusetts.
And you are part of this network.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me, how do you rehabilitate a dog, or what situations do you encounter with these dogs?
Very aggressive dogs, dogs that are not led correctly. Anybody can have a dog, right? So, but there are some dogs that come with certain baggage that they need help letting go. They're not just animals, they're not kids. So what I do is I retrain the dog to behave, act accordingly, and so they can live their best lives.
Oh, and so you have one dog at a time or two dogs?
At one point, I believe there were 5 or 6 dogs that I had.
Oh, really?
It was a lot. It was.
A little dog dormitory.
Right. They all got along mostly. There was some that were being returned. There was one Doberman that was returned because he had, anytime somebody would walk in the door, the dog would lunge and bite. But
That's a deterrent for an adopted family.
It is, but not everybody understands that all dogs are trainable. You can teach any dog. I can walk down the bike path with my 2 dogs with no leash, and they will walk on either side of me. And when they see other people, they see other dogs, they know this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do not lunge, don't try to say hi to the person unless I say that it's okay.
So they have really good manners.
They do.
And how did you learn this?
Well, there's a lot of YouTube videos. There's a lot of
You're self-trained.
right. So if you do the research and you try to study as much as you want to master your craft, then you're gonna get there. But if you don't put any work into it, if you have a dog that it has all these bad habits that you don't like, but you're just dealing with it, that's not gonna help you.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned a Doberman.
Mhm.
Do you end up with all different breeds or?
I do. Another Rotarian, Allie. She adopted Clara. They just celebrated their 1-year anniversary.
Oh.
I rescued her from Albany, she was a puppy, not trained really, and her foster mom was an elderly woman who didn't have the tools to really take her on.
So you helped Clara get some manners and learn how
Yes.
to be a good dog.
Well, actually, she was good.
Mm-hmm.
She was just on edge because she just didn't really know where she was going to land. But Allie took really good care of her. She went to Canine and Pets in town,
Mm-hmm.
and Sergio, he's really good at training, and he has a very good he has a very good support team.
So part of it is just letting the dog know what's expected. So then they're comfortable, sort of like people.
Right.
If we are uncertain of what to do and what's expected of us, we might be a little bit on edge.
Absolutely.
I might not lunge, but maybe I would. Never tell. So how many dogs do you have now?
I only have my 2 now. I did take some time. One of the dogs that I had rehomed had passed away. He had eaten something and it got lodged, and that kind of broke my heart a little bit. So I decided to focus more on my dogs for now. And if they really, really needed me, then I would help out.
Of course you would.
But right now, my 2 need more guidance.
Well, and your 2 must be great roomies for these other dogs. Good examples.
Sometimes it depends. You can't really tell. Sometimes if you put 2 girls together, they tend to get moody. Put 2 boys together with a girl in the same room, it tends to get a little rowdy. So, but I got Stevie, my dog Buddy is my first one, and he had really bad anxiety and separation anxiety. So I decided that maybe he needed a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met Stevie through the rescue that I volunteered for, and she was a street dog. So she had no manners. She did as she wanted, and that it was her life, and she was just off on her own until she met me. I met her, and then I was informed that if I did not take her, she would be put to sleep. So I took her, and now, I mean, sometimes she doesn't have a lot of manners, but we're getting there.
Wow. So when you're working with a dog or having a dog in the retraining phase, how many hours a day do you work with them, or how does that work?
As many hours as it takes, but it's not something that you can do. You have to take breaks, obviously, but you form a routine, and that is what makes the dog best, is if it can count on right now. So if you first get a rescue dog, there's a rule. There's 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months rule. Your 3 days are going to be the worst with a rescue dog, only because it's not sure, it's insecure, it's going to be high anxiety. They don't know you. So, and then you have to make it known who you are. So if you're the boss, you have to make sure the dog knows. Otherwise, the dog's just going to walk all over you. And it's not a healthy environment for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
After 3 weeks, you should be a lot more comfortable establishing that schedule where you wake up and you go out, and then you eat dinner, and then you go out again. And then if you go to work or whatever, that's the crate is a safe spot, and that's where the dog's going to feel more comfortable, depending on the dog. And then you do what you do during the day, and then when you're interacting with your dog, you should be training. You should be leading the dog to do whatever, whether it's walking nice on a leash or doing tricks. That's what the dogs like, interaction. So
They want to be our friends.
absolutely. And then they are more happy when they are with you doing stuff like that than if you were to just be on your phone all day and not paying attention to the dog.
They want to be part of the family.
They do.
So you probably have had some experience with successes. And
Yes.
then there were heartbreak, but there's also some good things that you've seen and some families that probably are so grateful.
There is. I'm very happy that the majority of all the dogs that I've interacted with have a home, a safe space to go to, and I get to see them every once in a while. At A.W. Brown's, there's Lisa. She adopted Monroe, a Doberman. There's Allie, who adopted Clara. And then there's my heart dog would be Duke. He's this big Clifford the Big Red Dog kind of dog. He's a big boy. But he was abandoned in Rochester at a doggy daycare because he had a form of aggression, but he wasn't aggressive right off the bat. But he would be defiant. So he was hard. He was a tough one. 6 months it took me to retrain him and to get him to be more comfortable. But now he's over in Wilbraham right now. He gets to go to work every day.
So 6 months is a long time for your retraining process. What's the quickest turnaround, do you think?
Yeah, Clara was my quickest because she wasn't aggressive. She just wanted to bond with someone immediately. She wasn't aggressive. She was a little bit of a flighty dog, but that was probably, I had her for 3-4 days before Allie took her.
Well, that isn't bad. She just
No.
wanted a friend.
She did.
And she found it in Allie. How
She did,
great.
Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you take your dogs to the rail trail?
I do. I do it mostly when nobody's there, because when I'm training, I don't want to make anybody else uncomfortable. There are some people who are not dog people, and there's also other dogs that aren't dog people. So I want to make sure that I don't make anybody uncomfortable in trying to train them.
Do you ever take your dogs to the dog park?
I do.
And is that a fun place for dogs?
Fountain-
Next to Big Y?
No,
No,
I
her-
don't take
no.
them there. That's
No?
that not that it's a bad dog park, but it's small.
Mm-hmm.
Fountain Park
Oh,
is a
okay.
very big. It's at the old pheasant farm in Wilbraham. Where they have the Peach Festival.
Mm-hmm.
So I take my dogs there. We hike. There's a huge field, wide open spaces. The problem with a small dog park is you smaller spaces, too many dogs, you're going to have a fight. So I tend to avoid stuff like that.
But you can hike with your dogs. And
Yes.
they must love being outdoors. They get to sniff.
Our longest hike was, I believe, 11 to 13 hour hike. We went
Wow.
to New Hampshire, Franconia Notch. So
Wow.
we went up to the.
You have
Greeley
youngish
hike.
dogs, I'm guessing.
The four and five. So they're all right. They're getting their white hair, but they did great. They did really well.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds great. You do some other community things, and I don't want to out you, but if you want to share any of that, because it's kind of cool.
What are we talking
Well,
about?
I could talk about how you gathered some folks together to do some nice things for the recreation department.
Oh, Oh,
You can say no. I don't want to
no,
talk
no,
about it.
it's fine. It's fine.
Your good work
No,
spread
really.
the news of this.
Yes, there was a few different things. So we were trying to raise awareness on the lack of athletic fields in town, and also awareness on the athletic fields in town that need to be updated and fixed. When Ralph Page was just in the shop yesterday, and we were discussing the Pine Knoll projects that need to go on, and the Brown Farm. So Brown Farm, Ralph Page is working on that one. They were thinking about putting in I guess they decided to put in a splash pad. There's a splash pad and I believe 2 baseball diamonds in Hamden. And it was such a great idea because we were trying to think about what they wanted to do with the space. They wanted to do something for the kids. The lack of baseball fields and also a splash pad would be really great in a neighborhood setting that it's in. Everybody was really scared of doing something too major because it's smack dab in the middle of a neighborhood.
So for the record, Ralph Page is our town council
Yes.
president
Yes.
and is a landscaper in town
Yes.
and is very generous with his time and talents.
He is.
And you're in cahoots with him now to do all these great things with the fields for the kids.
Yes.
So is the splash pad and baseball diamond at Brown Farm or?
It would.
It will be.
That's what
That's the plan.
That's the plan. It's not. It hasn't really come into play yet, but everybody has all these great ideas. It's just trying to tie everybody down to sit down and discuss it further and try to think of like grants. You have to apply for grants and you have to come up with a plan. So,
and even though Brown Farm is great property, it's pretty much undeveloped.
right.
There's the community gardens there,
Yes.
and that's where the Oktoberfest event was.
Yes.
But there's more that could be done.
Absolutely.
And a splash pad for those without children is like a place where water springs up, and on hot days you can go and refresh yourself.
Right. It's very popular in Hamden. I thought that it would be a really popular idea in East Long Meadow, and I didn't feel that the surrounding neighborhood would have a big problem with that because they could just send their kids over and it'd be in walking distance anyways for them. So,
and there is hiking at Brown Farm, so
there is
your family can go walk around a little bit and then
Yes.
cool off if that's the right time of year.
Yes, there is. So I know that right now there's land over off of Chestnut as over by the retirement community or the retirement homes. They are fixing to build 3 fields over there. Our Ment is it's going to be our Ment trucking fields or something
Oh,
to that
nice.
effect.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that one, but something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully they can fix all the courts at Pine Knoll because there's volleyball court. There could be a pickleball court over there. There's tennis courts, basketball courts. And if you can fix it all up and put outside lights, that place would be as busy as high school is during the spring, summer, and fall.
I think our town has a pretty active youth sports program, and we just need more places for this to happen. And pickleball, of course, transcends all ages. So,
yeah, that's becoming a new thing.
huge
Pickleball
in surrounding towns too. So we might as well hop on the bandwagon.
Absolutely.
Anything
Absolutely.
to move and keep going.
You can have tournaments and anything to keep the kids busy is always good, especially in a healthy way like that, in a positive way, because it does bring the community together. You can hold a lot of tournaments. It's like the basketball tournaments that we have. I know Donna does a lot of work with that. I believe it's CYOB.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they are running out of basketball courts. where we have to leave town for it, which I feel we should make the space for it. And if we have the ability just to build, and we have plenty of areas where we can. So just trying to get a group together on a volunteer basis is the one thing that everybody's having a problem with, because everybody's busy.
Everyone is busy, but it's really important. And I know Donna at the recreation department, our leader, has said that Pine Knoll fills. They can only accommodate so many kids at camp in the summer. And darn, that's a really important part of summer.
Right. It is, because one, their parents need to work. So the kids need to go somewhere, and then they want to go to a place where they're going to have fun and also maybe learn and make friends. Because that's what childhood is all about, is making those lifelong friendships. If you're ever blessed to have one of those, it's pretty amazing to have that person you always grew up with.
Yeah.
But we're running out of space. And that's the recreation department is running out of space to accommodate the kids that are signing up for certain sports.
Well, and I will say, I think it's more urgent now than it used to be, because long ago we could go outside and play on our street, and you literally get kicked out of the house after breakfast in the summer. That was it. Go play. And now kids have screens, and they really could spend a whole day without seeing other live kids. And that's important. Interaction is important. Physical activity is important. Learning new stuff is important.
Unfortunately, we live in an age where they make friendships on a screen instead of in person. I remember when my kids were real little, I kicked them out, and I'm like, go play. Just go. Because if they're on their phones, or they're on the video games or whatever for too long, they get really cranky, and they're not pleasant to be around. But if they're outside, they're getting exercise. That's the one thing that scientific studies have proven to help with depression and anxiety. Also, not able to sleep, the irritability, all that stuff can be cured with just going for a simple walk and just disconnecting yourself from anything online and just being present in that moment. I feel like that's definitely missing with the kids these days, and it's really sad, because it's just wrong. I feel like it's just wrong. As a mother, I don't agree with it, but so for the kids that do want to go out and get some physical activity and join a group in playing basketball or playing soccer, I feel like they need to have a safe space for that. So,
and we're lucky there are good people in town who was taking up this gauntlet, but you could use a few more hands and bodies to help.
Yes. So right now, Bill Rinaldi is a part of the East Long Meadow Foundation, and what they do is they raise money to obviously support the ideas for the rec department, for athletic fields, or just raising awareness on what's going on in town and seeing how we can make it a better place for the kids.
Absolutely. He's a great guy, and they have a big job, so that is a good thing.
They do.
Absolutely. So one more of your many good works. Tell us about the community projects from Rotary. That was part of your introduction, so we can circle back around to that.
My contribution to Rotary is the Celebrate East Long Meadow, which is a fall festival. I took it on. I don't know how I got handed the baton on this, but
maybe you're in the ladies' room and they voted you in. That's.
I think my father had something to do with it, but yeah. I took it on because of my father. So the one thing that my father loves the most is making kids happy and seeing the smiles on their faces. If you walk into WB Hill,
It's a business. It's a busy business.
It is, but at the counter, my father had made a stand for a saddle, and so kids can sit on it. They get a nice cowboy hat, and they get their picture taken. Mostly grown men love this, but the kids too. I have a wall of fame of mostly grown men just having a ball on this thing. But that's what makes it him happy, and I love that. Just to see the smile on his face, and he just lights up. So I took on the Celebrate because that would seem to have been his favorite event of the year, because it wasn't about raising money. It wasn't about the concert series. It wasn't all work, but it was just to see, it was for the community and for the kids. The bounce houses, the carnival food that we make, the tractor rides, the pumpkins, all that fun stuff that for a town fair. It just made
vendors,
him
the
happy.
costume contest.
Absolutely.
It's just a lot going on.
It is.
And the entertainment. Oh my
yes.
gracious. Tell us about some of the folks you've had there.
We have had different dance companies come out, and it's a good way to showcase what they've been working on before they have a recital. It's just something for them to just come to and just dance and have fun.
Show their talent in town.
Absolutely. And it's not just dance companies. It's not just in East Long Meadow. I've asked different groups from Springfield, East Long Meadow, Hamden, surrounding areas to come out and show us your stuff. We've had cheer-offs between East Long Meadow and Wilbraham. The girls do a great job. Wilbraham wasn't able to join us this past year, but maybe this year we can do something again.
And the self-defense people. I don't want to say karate because I'll probably get it wrong, but
yes,
those people.
Yes, they did. Last year I had a Massachusetts Taekwondo in town. The kids put on a show for everybody, and this past year, there was a dance company. I forget the name of it, and I'd butcher the name anyways because I'm just not familiar with martial arts that much. But Rotarian, Allie's dad, he was a member of the group, and so they came out and they did a demonstration. There's a new boxing place in town. Her name's Teresa. She used to be a bodybuilder. She is in the back of My Main Squeeze. She came to sort of advertise. So it's a good opportunity for all the business owners to come and advertise and pass out a pamphlet or some sort of information to lure people in.
But it's a great day.
It is.
And I don't want to jinx you, but we've had some really good weather. It's like a Norman Rockwell moment. This beautiful fall day with the pumpkins and the.
Everybody was like, "It's gonna rain. It's gonna rain." I told them, I said, "It's not gonna rain," and it was on this forecast. I said, "It's not raining," and it didn't.
Katie
such a
will
great
not
day.
allow it.
It was 6 months to plan and celebrate. So just to kind of network and to make the list greater for all the contacts. And I'm hoping to get more and more people every year, and different organizations to raise awareness on on the positive things. Katie's Closet, Shaping Souls. There's
tell us a little bit about what those are, because it isn't really the closet in your bedroom.
No, it's
Katie's.
not.
Just
Katie's Closet is a nonprofit organization. They take donations and they give it to women who are, let's just say, for someone who doesn't have the money to go out and spend on an outfit for an interview, or to make them feel better. They're just in rags and they need something better. Katie's Closet provides stuff like that. Shaping Souls is almost the same thing, except with shoes and they take donations, and I believe it's been over 500,000 pairs of shoes that he's donated to kids in need in the area.
And
So,
think about it. Kids outgrow shoes before the shoes are really worn. How
Right.
wonderful they can be passed on.
not only these are new shoes that
These are brand
donated.
new.
Yes, these
Oh,
are new
nice.
shoes. So because not only do kids get picked on for shoes still, yeah, you remember those days. You're wearing hand-me-downs.
I was
and you're
never
like,
the
"No,
cool
no."
child. Yeah.
I wasn't either. But so a kid who doesn't have the ability to go out and buy a pair of Nikes or anything comfortable, these kids get donated. And then just like what we did with the backpacks, where the Rotary did backpacks, we stuffed backpacks, and the police department does it, the fire department does it. The whole community does stuff like that. So kids who need school supplies and the parents can't afford it, there are plenty of resources that provide stuff like that. So
Nice to start the school year with
something
All
new, right?
products you need to be successful and to feel good.
Right.
That's great.
Because it always makes a kid. You never want to make a child insecure. It's just like a dog. You don't want to make them insecure, because then it puts them on edge. You want them to go confidently, and so they can focus on more important things like learning what they and also to find themselves, because a kid without guidance is, a lost kid, and then it doesn't do them any favors. So to make them more comfortable and more secure on who they are is something that definitely needs to happen.
Well, I'm exhausted hearing about all of your good work in our town and beyond. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we
No.
release you back to your life?
I think that's it.
I want to go to Hills because I frequently get my car inspection sticker. I'm going to sit on the saddle next time, have my picture taken. I can get on Katie's wall
of
But
fame.
you need me
yes.
looking at you every day at work, don't you? Thank you so much for coming.
Oh no, thank you for the invitation.
So,
Absolutely.
so Katie, you really talked about 3 different projects that you're involved in. So regarding do you look for volunteers, for example, for the dog rescue? If somebody wanted to get involved with that, how would they go about doing that?
Well, they could go on the internet. They can contact me. There's a lot of I could give out the contact information. If they contact me, they can find my information on wbhillinc.com.
Okay.
Or it's really simple. I'm in the parts department, or you can just call and I'll answer the phone.
Okay.
And I'll give out all the information that's asked.
Okay. And what about your work with the recreation department? If somebody wanted to volunteer,
They
and
would
assist
contact
there.
Donna.
So they would call Donna at the
Contact
rec
Donna,
department?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm only a volunteer. She's more in charge of. She's the director.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
would be the better person to
Okay.
contact.
And what about Rotary? If somebody wanted to join Rotary or volunteer Rotary, how does that work?
Rotary, if you want to learn any more information on Rotary, they meet at Fazio's on Thursday for lunch between 12 and 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So they are in the dining room. You just look for the big American flag and you'll find them.
And there's a great lunch.
Yes, there is a lunch, and you can just sit down, have lunch, kind of ask as many questions as possible. All of the veteran Rotarians are all there. The ones that have been in the club a lot longer than me have more of information.
Okay.
I just do it for the fun of it.
Yeah.
I don't do the lunches.
Okay. Well, very good. Yes. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. We really
thank you.
appreciate it. Wow, this has been great. So that wraps up another episode of Stories from the View. We'd like to thank Katie Hill for being here today. The Stories from the View podcast is available on the LCAT 01028 channel on YouTube and on Spotify. If you have a story that you'd like to share on the program, contact Pleasant View Senior Center Director Aaron Kobler. by stopping by the Senior Center or by calling Aaron at 413-525-5436, extension 1401, or you can send Aaron an email, aaron.kobler@eastlongmeadowma.gov. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Stories from the View.